Hello and welcome to Goodrick Farms. We're back with another episode of Farmville, North Carolina, and today we gotta do a little bit of spraying. So we picked up this small sprayer that we've got hooked up to our New Holland tractor. I thought this would be a good setup to tackle some of these weeds. As you can see, the weeds have gotten, well, out of control in this field, and we don't have a very big farm. So I figured, let's just hit it with a little sprayer of our own here. We probably could just call the co-op out here with a much bigger machine to do this in a couple of passes. But I've had this mod sitting in my folder for a little while here, and I wanted to give it a shot. So we're going to see how this works out. Now, it's pretty small, and normally I would use something just a little bit bigger. But we're going to see how this works. Now, we don't have a precision farming spot spraying setup on this. It's a pretty old sprayer, and so we're going to be just spraying old school here. And I'm trying not to hop rows here. We got to get on our path, get these headlands knocked out real quick here, and hopefully this is going to kill off all the weeds, keep us from needing to spray again this year. Now, if I'm not mistaken, with the way that precision farming works, we're actually going to take a little bit of a penalty here for just straight up spraying across all the rows like this. They would prefer if we used a spot spraying mechanic, which I would prefer as well because it'd use a lot less product. However, given the sheer number of weeds across this field, we're not being too wasteful in some of these areas by spraying everything. And I have modified this sprayer to go a little bit faster. We always used to spray at around 12 miles an hour, sometimes actually a little faster than that, I felt like. And so we've got our sprayer set up here to go 12 as well. Seems to be working pretty well here. I am noticing though, the sprayer seems to be a slightly awkward width. We're like straight up 5 rows on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I would expect this to be set up at maybe a 12-row width or something. I don't know. Usually sprayers are actually pretty wide. We would pull a sprayer that was probably 2 to 3 times wider than this back when I was doing a lot of spraying. But this was a mod that I've just been wanting to try out for a little while here. So well, that's what we're gonna do. Ideally, we could have this on even smaller of a tractor, I guess. And the other big reason I kind of wanted to pick up a sprayer is it's an easy way to go knock out both spraying and fertilizing contracts as they pop up over the summer here. And we tend to have some of the bigger fields on the map. We've got decent sized fields here where a lot of the fields around the map are going to be pretty small. And so having a nice small sprayer that we can get in and out of all of those little fields with was definitely something I was thinking about when we decided to pick this up. Now I'm trying not to run over all of our corn as we do this. For some reason this thing is feeling like it's drifting between the lanes a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to get going straight down the up and down row here without going back and forth all the time. And with one pass done on the headlands, I think we are just gonna spin around here and not bother going around for a second headland pass. I think we're gonna be just fine with the single pass here. Although it does look like our GPS width might be off by just a smidge. If I turn the lines on here, it doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Our tractor's width, however, seems to be a little bit off. Like my left tire is right where I'd want it to be going through the row, and my right tire is just driving over the crop. So this tractor is not set up on 30-inch centers apparently. So that's definitely a concern here, but the actual sprayer widths seem to be matching up with our GPS lines, which are the blue lines that you can see on the ground here maybe. You can turn those on and off with GPS using the Alt-L key. So sometimes it's nice to be able to check and see that everything is set up correctly. Now, when we started this, I was kind of thinking that one tank of herbicide was going to go a long way in this field, but now that we're getting into it and going up and down these long rows, we're almost at halfway through this tank, and we are definitely not halfway through this field. So the benefits of having the spot spraying mechanic from Precision Farming are definitely there. We're going through a lot of product right now, and we're taking a little bit of an environmental hit for doing so. So all in all, I think we'll definitely need to look into maybe adding sensors to the sprayer, or alternatively, we might need to pick up a bigger sprayer. This is going a smidge slower than I was kind of anticipating when we started this job. I always like trying out new pieces of equipment, but sometimes I choose poorly and I forget just how monotonous a job like spraying can be. So we've been making pretty good progress here, going back and forth in this field, and we're definitely more than halfway done, but we're running low on spray here, so I'm going to run back up to the yard. I think we've still got another tank full of spray. I didn't want to end up empty in the middle of the field and have to cut all the way back across, so as long as we're on the headland here, we might as well jump out and get topped off here. Well, there we go. We should have just a little bit left in there for a refill before we start the other field. We are going to need to buy another tank of herbicide here, though. We just aren't going to have enough with what we've got going on between our two fields. If I remember right, the other field is actually larger anyway, so we'll take off this headland pass here as we find our way back into the row. Luckily, GPS has been working out really well for us here on this field, and with this equipment, sometimes it's hit or miss, but we're doing pretty good here. So we're going to keep on trucking here. We're going to knock this field out, and we'll check in and see where we're at after we get done with these last few rounds. So we're taking the last of the long rows down here to the end, just about wrapped up, but we've got, I think, a couple of passes up here that we still need to make on the short rows up near the house. So we're just going to run down the edge of the field here. In fact, I could jump across a few rows here, probably not going to be too big of a deal. We can get on our GPS track and knock these couple of passes out. I don't know, I think we've probably got just over a round to do here. 3 passes, that's my guess. Oh, we left a smidgen of weeds there. It's going to drive me nuts, but I don't know if I want to turn around and go all the way back over there to get that 1 foot pass of weeds. Oh, there was a pass more than I was expecting over here. Well, either way, we'll end up pointing back towards the yard. And I'm noticing I missed quite a few weeds over here on the headland, so I'm going to zip down here and hit both of these big spots. Alright, that wraps up all of the spraying we need to do in this field. So I think what we're going to do is fold this up, run up in the yard here real quick, and top off the sprayer. We've got a little bit of spray left in this container. Not enough to fill up the sprayer, I don't think, but enough to get us going. And I think my plan is going to be to take a headland pass off. Not even enough spray to bother mentioning it. But I think we're going to take the headland pass off here on the top side of the field, and then maybe see if we can get a worker going on spraying this field. I always like to try out the hired workers when I get a new mod and just know whether or not that's going to work for us. And with the way this field kind of overlaps up here, I'm kind of hugging this tree line. We've got a row of corn over there in the trees. I don't think it's going to yield very good, but we'll try and hit that. And I think what we're going to do is hit the GPS align button so that our up-down rows are going to be aligned with this particular track. And then we'll knock out the short rows right here manually before we try and get going on the long up-down rows. I do still need to take off the headland pass up here on that end of the field as well. And I think since we're going to try and use some hired help to knock this field out, we're going to take off 2 headland passes on this end. Just because then we're not going to be turning around up into this ditch hill, which I could see leading to a few problems, especially with the hired worker. So I'm just going to go there and back on this headland pass. I think that should give us plenty of room to be turning around. And hopefully I'm picking the right rows here, that there's not going to be any leftover weeds. I think I actually, whoa, jumped a row there. There we go. That looks good based on where the weeds are coming in. Just like that. We've got that all wrapped up, and I'm not too worried about getting that other tree line just yet. Let's start on this side. Get the GPS going here first. Make sure we're on the right up and down row. There we go. Looks good. And then I'm going to go ahead and disable GPS and hit this hired worker button, and let's see how that does. Looks like the hired worker is taking over here. Hired worker seems to be turning the sprayer on and off quite a bit. I don't know if that's some kind of precision farming thing. We do have the updated precision farming GPS things to help with the efficiency of the hired worker, but I'm actually kind of surprised to see them turning the whole sprayer on and off. It looks like they're actually missing quite a bit while they're doing that. We'll let him go and see what happens here. Okay, he seems to be being a bit more consistent now, but maybe that's just because there's weeds across the whole way. Yeah, seems to be going all right. Not turning it on and off like he was last pass. I just don't know what was up with that. That was very confusing for sure. All right, either way, I wish I could say mystery solved, but I guess at least he's being consistent now. It's always a mystery, always something weird going on, I feel like. We hop out here, we can watch him going. Plenty of room for turning around. And the nice thing with this smaller tractor is that turning right back into the row, even with such a narrow implement, is not been a problem at all. So that looks like it's going good, and we don't see any weed warnings here in the field info as we're running around. So I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot. We've got pretty much nearly maxed out yield expectations and no weeds. And if we step over here, everything appears to be the same as well. So we got 9.3 acres of corn on this side of the farm here. And if I jump right back over here, we've got 12.78 acres. Looking good, looking good. So we're going to go ahead and knock out the rest of the spraying here. I've got a little bit on the short rows here that I need to come back and hit at some point. But I think the worker's going to be able to keep going and do its thing here without any problems or concerns. And we'll see how far through this field we can get with what fertilizer we have left. We're definitely going to need to pick up one more container here, so we'll have to grab another 5K from the bank. 5K from the bank is going to put us back up at $100,000 in debt, which is a nice round number, I suppose. And then we haven't moved the month forward since last episode, so we're still sitting on our original set of pigs, which just reproduced. And then we've got these, which will hopefully be getting to the reproduction stage here after another month or two. And our new batch, which is just getting started. So we're in a pretty good spot here. Oh, what is he doing? He has got some kind of weird turning around in the middle of my field to start spraying again. It looks like he's not capable of handling when there's no weeds at all in a given section. Unfortunate, but I think we're gonna have to take over here from this guy and figure this out. I was really hoping the worker was gonna work out for us here, but unfortunately, I think we're just gonna have to take matters into our own hands, get this job done ourselves. Well, it looks like we're running low on spray again, so we're gonna stop here at the end and go ahead and get another pallet shipped out here and delivered. These pallets of herbicide are actually somewhat spendy, 2,400 bucks. I guess it does fill us up twice. And we're going to go ahead and have the co-op drop that off right here for us. I've turned this area in front of the hog sheds into our delivery area because there's a lot of room. Makes it pretty easy to get our stuff in and out of here, figure out where we're going to store it after it's delivered. And as long as we're down here on this end, we might as well tackle these short rows. Oh, we're spraying the yard. Not the best idea there. Hopefully it doesn't kill off our grass. But yeah, we're going to grab these short rows since we're down here. Otherwise I'll probably forget, which would not be ideal. And I have to say, while it is somewhat, I guess I'll say monotonous spraying, it's also very therapeutic. It's going very well, very easy. GPS is working out great for us. I think the only thing I wish is that this thing was maybe 50% wider than it is. I think then I would feel like it was just about the right size for our tractor and farm. I mean, realistically, this would be more than sufficient for our farm of these 2 fields. I mean, we've got, what, 22 acres? But you got to scale everything a little bit for Farm Sim. I'm just taking a look here. It's pretty easy to see where we left off. Just look for all the weeds. I think we should, based on how well we've done on this part of the field so far, we're definitely going to be able to finish with the herbicide that we've got purchased right now. However, I'm kind of wondering if we'll be able to finish with the tank that we've got. If I was smart, I would have topped this off one last time after we finish those short rows. But I didn't think of it, and it's not going to be that much of an inconvenience to drive back across the length of the field to top the tank off one last time if we need to. So let's get back to it and knock out the rest of these acres. As we get to the end of the field here, we're on the shorter rows, and I'm not going to have the room to turn around with the tree line down there. So it's probably time to jump over here and spray the headland passes around on the edge of the field here. Knock all of this out, give us some room to turn around. We've got the deer out here nibbling on the edge of our crops already. And it looks like my guess was way off. We definitely have enough spray left in the tank to finish off this field. I was thinking we might have to go back and top it off, but I think we're going to be good to go here. So I'm just going to take off a second headland pass on this end, give us a little bit of room to move around, like so. And then I think the best thing to do is actually to come right back over here onto this end and pick up our sprayer line right where we left off. Then I know for sure our GPS is all aligned and we're not missing any passes here in the field. I will say I think this job took a little bit longer than I was expecting. We probably spent, once we get done with this, we probably spent about a half hour spraying each field. I guess we could speed the sprayer up a little bit to make that go faster. We could probably put a couple miles an hour on there and be in a good spot here with our spray. But I don't know, I think it might just be a little bit too narrow for me. I think we will look into maybe a wider implement here for the farm, especially if we're going to try and start tackling some contracts and stuff. I think we could afford to get something just a little bit more efficient on the farm. Contract spraying can be quite lucrative, so investing in a better sprayer wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I think that we could manage to at least pay off the cost of that upgrade by doing a handful of contracts here over the spring and summer months. Now, I have been running the time at 5x this episode, and we're already into the afternoon, so I suppose if we want to knock out a few contracts, I should probably slow time back down to 1x. Give me a little bit of breathing room for the next episode. We'll see how it goes. But I think we're going to be upgrading the sprayer. I had a lot of fun with it today, but at the end of the day, I think that I need something a little bit bigger. I'll be looking around, seeing what I can find before next episode. And yeah, we're trucking right along here on the farm. We might do 1 or 2 contracts and then move the time forward next episode. I want to keep those hogs going because I really do think that's going to be the big moneymaker for us. And I'd rather focus on that than doing tons and tons of contracts. A few contracts can be productive, though, for sure. So we're going to leave this set up here. We might need to touch up a few areas here on the headland. Nope, that looks good. All right, well, we're going to leave this here. And it's been a little bit of an odd episode for me, but we're going to be getting into a lot more productive things. I mean, this was productive. We had to get these fields sprayed, but I'm most anxious to keep moving the clock forward. I really want to see our hogs start to really take off here over the next few episodes. And as always, we've got everything done now. I'm looking forward to harvest. We're still several months away from harvest, though, so we'll find some things to do over the next couple of episodes before we get into harvest. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, drop a like. It helps me out a lot. And stay tuned on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays for additional episodes. That's all for today. Ketterk out. And then we can head right back down here and jump into... Oh my goodness, we're all over the place.